The first scream didn't come from an animal. It came from a human throat, sharp and terrified, and it echoed through the Amazon jungle like a warning meant only for those foolish enough to step inside. If you think danger announces itself loudly, you're wrong. In this jungle, the real threat waits silently, watching, breathing, counting your steps. And once you enter, it doesn't matter who you are or what you believe, you will be tested in ways you never imagined. Stay with this story, because the jungle never lets everyone leave the same way they entered. Arjun had always believed fear was something you could control. At 29, he carried that belief with him when he stepped off the small boat and onto the muddy riverbank, the thick green wall of trees rising in front of him like a living creature. He wasn't alone. Maya walked beside him, her eyes sharp, her face calm but her hands slightly trembling. She was a wildlife researcher, born in a small village far from cities, someone who understood nature but also respected it deeply. Behind them was Diego, their local guide, a man in his early 40s whose silence said more than most people's words. He had grown up near the jungle, and the jungle had taken things from him, family, friends, memories, but it had also made him strong. Their mission was simple on paper: reach a remote research station deep inside the jungle to document rare animal movements. But the moment they took their first steps under the canopy, the air changed. It became heavier, as if the jungle itself was pressing against their chests. Every sound felt closer than it should be: the buzzing of insects, the distant calls of birds, the crack of branches that made the heart jump even when nothing appeared. Within hours, the jungle began its quiet attacks. Leeches clung to their skin without pain, stealing blood unnoticed. Thorns scratched their arms, leaving burning lines behind. The heat drained their energy faster than expected, and sweat soaked their clothes until they felt like strangers to their own bodies. Arjun tried to joke, tried to keep the mood light, but even he could feel it: the jungle wasn't impressed by confidence. That night, as they set up a small camp, something moved beyond the firelight. The sound was slow, deliberate. Diego froze, raising his hand. No one spoke. The fire crackled loudly in the silence. Minutes passed like hours. Whatever it was eventually disappeared, but sleep did not come easily after that. Maya stared into the darkness, her thoughts heavy. She remembered stories her grandmother used to tell: how the jungle listens, how it punishes arrogance and rewards humility. The next day brought worse. A sudden storm turned the ground into thick sludge. Visibility dropped, and the trail Diego knew so well seemed to vanish. When Arjun slipped and fell into a shallow ravine, twisting his ankle badly, panic finally showed its teeth. Pain shot through his leg, and fear followed close behind. For the first time, he understood how fragile humans really are here. Maya knelt beside him, her voice steady as she cleaned the wound. Diego made a decision quickly. They would move slower, rest more, and change their route. It would cost them time, but rushing was a death sentence. That night, Arjun lay awake, listening to the jungle breathe around him. He thought about his life back home, about unfinished conversations and unspoken feelings. The jungle had stripped away his illusion of control in just 2 days. Just before dawn, they heard it again, a low growl, closer this time. It circled the camp, unseen but present. Diego whispered a single sentence that sent chills through them all: "It knows we are here." And as the sun began to rise, one question hung in the air: would the jungle let them go deeper, or was this already the point of no return? The morning light revealed nothing unusual, but the tension didn't fade. It tightened. They moved forward, step by careful step, deeper into the green maze. Arjun leaned on a makeshift stick, each movement painful but determined. Maya walked ahead, scanning the surroundings, her respect for the jungle now mixed with fear and fascination. Diego led them with quiet focus, though his eyes often lingered on shadows that seemed to move when no wind blew. By the 4th day, supplies were running low. Food was rationed, and exhaustion crept into their voices. Then, disaster struck. While crossing a narrow river, the current surged unexpectedly, knocking Maya off balance. Arjun reacted without thinking, grabbing her hand, but the pain in his ankle made him slip. For a terrifying moment, all three were at the mercy of the water. Diego managed to anchor himself and pull them back, but the river claimed one of their bags, along with vital equipment. Maya broke down that night. The jungle's sounds felt louder than ever, mocking her tears. She confessed her fear: not just of dying, but of failing. She had dedicated her life to protecting nature, yet now nature seemed ready to destroy her. Arjun listened, truly listened, for the first time in years. He admitted his own fear, his habit of pretending to be strong to avoid facing his emptiness. Even Diego spoke then, telling them how the jungle had taken his younger brother years ago, how he still walked these paths to understand why. The next challenge came silently. Arjun woke up unable to feel his foot properly. Infection had begun to set in. Panic threatened to consume them, but Maya remembered plants she had studied for years. With Diego's help, she found a medicinal leaf known only to locals. It wasn't a cure, but it slowed the infection. Hope, fragile but real, returned. On the final stretch toward the research station, the jungle tested them one last time. A massive fallen tree blocked their path, and the surrounding area showed signs of predators. Turning back was safer. Going forward was faster. They chose forward, not out of bravery, but out of trust in each other. Together, they climbed, crawled, and waited when necessary. Every second demanded focus. When they finally saw the station, half swallowed by vines but standing, relief hit them like a wave. They had made it, not because they conquered the jungle, but because they learned to move with it, to respect it, to listen. Arjun realized strength wasn't about control, but connection. Maya understood that loving nature meant accepting its danger as much as its beauty. Diego felt a quiet peace, knowing he had guided others through the same darkness that once took so much from him. As they rested inside the station, the jungle continued its endless rhythm outside. It hadn't changed. They had. And if you think this story ends with safety, remember this: the Amazon jungle never stops watching. The real question is not whether you can survive it, but whether you will leave it wiser than when you entered. Because somewhere, deep in that green silence, another set of footsteps is about to begin.